Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're taking a look at Mew VMAX deck lists that have just been tearing it up in Japan. Ever since um, Paradigm Trigger released in Japan, Mew has just risen up as one of the absolutely best decks in the game. Um, so we're going to be looking at some of the lists. Like this, Mew has just been so successful. It is kind of crazy just how much Mew there is. So we're going to be looking at this website, hohonews.com. I will leave a link to this exact page in the description. This site is just awesome. It has they just compile all the Japanese deck lists that do well. Really, really great site if you're looking for some inspiration to build a new deck, looking for a new deck for the upcoming format to test things, or just looking for something cool. This site is amazing for that. We're going to be looking at Mew Lists. Starting off, the great thing is that since I translated this all to English, we can just search what we want right here with the Command F tool. Okay, so we have winner Mew VMAX here, and this is this is a very basic list. This is really reminiscent of what Mew lists look like when Mew first came out in Fusion Strike format. We are seeing no Aura Choreo. But you'll notice, opposed to the Mew lists that are being played right now, in the Lost Origin format, there is Fusion Strike energy and Meloetta back in the deck. And the reason for that is because of this new tool card, and I'm going to go ahead and get it up here. And it's because of this new card called Forest Seal Stone, which is going to be a new card coming out. This is a tool card that you attach to a Pokemon V, and the Pokemon V gets this V-Star power, and it is half of Star worth. It's just search your deck for any one card you want. That is insane. Like giving any V Pokemon you want a V-Star power that just gets any single card you want is already insane. But when you think about it in the context of Mew, they're having 3 to 4 Genesects in play, not to mention the Mew V Maxes. This tool is really, really easy, and it's basically a guaranteed cram heads. And sometimes you're just like a cram heads away from getting the great combo you need to take a knockout or to boss KO something. Well, now Forest Seal Stone is here to help you get that guaranteed. It's really just nice to have this as a backup plan as well, in case you do miss off of your Genesects. So this card is just insanely good in Mew, and not only that, but it can also be lost, vacuumed away. So if you attach it, you use it, and it's basically useless now. You can still lost vacuum into the Lost Stone, and actually lost vacuum can become like a quick ball that removes 2 cards from your hand. So that's pretty cool interaction as well. But the other main thing is that this tool card is not turned off a path. There's a strange ruling that says that the Pokemon, since the wording is can use the V-Star power, and path says Pokemon that have abilities, that actually means that this ability is not turned off by Path to the Peak. Now, you might be hearing it since, like, what do you mean? Yes, it is. And I know there's going to be people in the comment section that are going to be going, oh my gosh, there should be no reason why you can use this under Path. I'm not control over that. That's just a ruling that's been made. And it's really, really good it's obviously, if you're under Path, just using that, popping that Starbirth, or half a Starbirth ability, grabbing out the Stadium counter, and then just using it there and continuing on your merry way, using Fusion Strike System and things like that. So this card is just really, really good in the decks. And you're going to be seeing this Forest Seal Stone in every single list because it's just so absurd. Mew doesn't have a V-Star power it wants to use, so it's really easy to use. All right, hopping back over here. Like I said, this is very similar to what Mew lists look like when Mew first came out. We're seeing Fog Crystals in the list. There's no fancy stuff, just 3 Elusive Sparkle, 3 Boss. There's 3 Lost City, which might seem a little bit high, but there's no great stadiums to use here. Rose Tower is fine, but Lost City has more value now because Reggie's is a good deck. There's a lot of single price stuff. And at the very worst, Lost City is just a stadium counter that just is not a Path to the Peak, basically. So that's what this is here for. We are seeing only 1 copy of the Forest Seal Stone, which I've been enjoying too on my list. I've been testing Mew a lot for this format, and I'm enjoying 2 of the Forest Seal Stone. There's this list only playing 1. There's also no Lost Vacuum either. This list is very, very straightforward. It does have Palpad here as well. 1 copy of Escape Rope. And then the rest of the stuff is pretty standard: 4 cram, 4 power tablets, 4 battle VAP pass, 4 ultra ball, and 4 quick ball. This list is very, very cookie cutter, very, very standard and basic. That's where you're after. Moving on, the next one we have, this is going to actually be a fusion list build, and this has been another build of Mew that has been seeing success, and that is the 4 Path to the Peak maybe Mew build. There are 4 copies of Path to the Peak in this Mew list. That's because this Mew list is basically the double turbo build. We see no fusion strike energies. In this one, there are a decent amount of builds that do play fusion strike energies, but there's also still some of the fusion list builds. But this one is basically just a Marnie Path deck. 4 copies of Marnie, 4 copies of Path to the Peak, and then 4 copies of Lost Vacuum in order to remove your own Path to the Peak if your opponent does not bump it. So basically, this deck is just saying Marnie Path is broken, so what if I just combine it with the most broken draw engine in the game? Surely my deck is just absurdly good. And that's kind of what they're going for here. They're also taking advantage of the fact that you can actually use that under paths, or just saying, well, I'm going to path myself. And even if you don't buy my path, it's fine, because I can just pop my ability and find my lost vacuum, which is really, really cool. And other than that, this is basically like the same thing as the fusion list Mew that's good right now in standard. With a couple new cards, we do see 2 choice belt for Power Tablets, really relying on those in this build to take the knockouts. So we do still see the Silene in here. There's 2 copies of the new Serena supporter, which is a boss's order for V Pokemon, or if you want, it can be a draw supporter. Lets you discard cards. So Serena can be a boss's orders on V Pokemon, or it can thin cards that you don't want in your hand out of your hand, like Battle VAP Pass or things like that. We see Echoing Horn, which I think is just broken in me. Like, there's no reason just not to play one. It's one slot, and it just does so much for the deck. Super useful, super easy to get used out of too. 1 copy of Hyper Potion that we've seen in Mew lists in the past already. That can use the Hyper Potion in order to Hyper Potion Genesect or a Mew, so it's harder for a Lasso deck to knock out that really just wants to spam your board with Genesect or Sableye damage counters. So that's what that is here for. There's no Chromatic in this list, which I don't know if I agree with or not. I mean, you do have this 4 Seal Stone, and you're playing 4 actual draw supporters, so Cram may not actually be needed here. There's also 4 Switch, so we can just switch in and out of our Mews if we want to in order to keep using the Fusion Strike system. And that is going to be the Marnie Path Mew list, something that actually has been more popular than I thought. I saw this list already and was like, huh, that's kind of cool. I wonder if anyone else is going to try this. And people have been trying out the Marnie Path Mew deck with the 4 Lost Vacuum. So definitely an option for Mew list. It's kind of cool to see how Mew is kind of split apart in like 3 main different decks, which is pretty cool. All right, moving on here. Another Mew list. And this is going to be another double turbo build. This one playing some spicy stuff. This one's playing 3 Force Seal Stone, which I guess makes sense because on turn 1, this card basically just a 5th, 6th, or even 7th battle VIP pass. So it makes sense to have third one of those. I just don't really know how great that is. I mean, at the very worst, it is Cramomatic fodder, which is okay. And this one is playing the Heroes Meta, which is seen a little bit of. They're really, really fringe, but this one just playing that because it can help get around Drapions, things like that. There's no Oricorio or no Meloetta in this build. This is the Fusionless build once again. This one also playing 3 Path, 3 Marnies, and 4 Last Vacuums. So now it actually does make sense why we have the 3 Force Seal Stone, because you really just want to get 1 or 2 of those down. If you only get 1 down, your opponent can actually Lost Vacuum make it away, which Lost Vacuum is a very popular card right now and played on a lot of different stuff. So it makes sense why we have 3 of those now. But this is kind of like another version of that Marnie Path one. We're going a little bit lighter on the Marnie, a little bit lighter on the Path, but still very much the idea is there. You have Marnie, you have Path, you have your ability, your Starbirth tool to help yourself get out of Path, as well as the 4 Lost Vacuum. So another one, this one is playing the crowns like I mentioned about the last one though. This one is definitely a little bit more teched out. We have the Serenas in here. We have 1 copy of Roxanne as well. And yeah, then those 4 double turbo energies, of course. Alright, so we have a fusion build. Okay, so here's another fusion build, like I was saying. And this one is a little interesting on the Pokemon counts. 1 Meloetta I don't really like at all, because sometimes you bench Meloetta in order to threaten things or things like that. And sometimes they just boss and knock out the Meloetta. And sometimes you also want to have a replacement, because if that Meloetta gets knocked out, you're going to have to Silene it back into your deck in order to actually get access to Melodious Echo again to copy with Mew. If you're playing a Silene, you're not playing in Lisa's Sparkles. That could just pretty kind of slow you down. I really do not like one Meloetta. Like sometimes you just go second and you want to get the donk or the turn one attack, and your Meloetta's prize, and you can't do that. Instead, you have to settle for like a Deoxys, and Deoxys is not great. Um, as a turn one attacker, you much prefer attacking with Meloetta instead. The reason Deoxys is in here because it has 120 HP, which is just out of range of Cramorant taking a knockout on you, and that's just because this Deoxys survives Cramorant hits and it knocks out Cramorant to one hit. So basically, this Deoxys is here saying, I'm going to take two prizes with the Deoxys, and I can power it up quickly as well with at least a Sparkle. So it also does take use of the double turbo energies. If you don't know, actually, I should probably tell you what Deoxys does. If you don't know what that does, I believe it does 60 damage and then I think 70 more. I don't know. Let me go look this up here. Deoxys Fusion Strike. Okay, what does this do? So it does 80 damage and 80 more if it has Fusion Energy. It actually does 160, which is actually not bad damage. That one shot Snorlax too. It one-shots Cramorant, of course, all the Lost Zone stuff, and that's why it's here, so you can try and get an edge against the Lost Zone stuff. And there's actually 4 Pokemon Catcher in here. I did not realize that until now. There's 4 Pokemon Catcher, and it's because they're playing the 4 Pokemon Catchers, you only have 1 boss and 1 Serena. But we do still see the Palpet here, of course. You can use that as again. We also have Roxanne and Silene, of course, so this one is playing the path, Roxanne. Combo only 1 Lost CD. I mean, you do have 2 Lost Vacuum and 2 Forest Seal Stone, but still, like, this feels very risky. I don't know how I feel about just 1 Lost City, because I feel like to really get value of Velocity, you have to have 2 of them, because that is going to allow you to Lost Zone both Cramorants, 2 copies of a Reggie, things like that. So I feel like if you really want to get value out of Velocity, you have to have 2 of them. So not sure exactly why. Like I think they either play 2 Lost Cities or 0 Lost Cities. So or like 0 Lost Cities, and you just go like the Marnie Path build with the Mew deck. Other than that, this list is pretty good. Have the rope here. We have switches instead of switch cards, which I really, honestly, I have no clue why you're playing switches instead of switch cards. All the times you want to switch your Pokemon, it's a basic Pokemon because you want to you can retreat your Mew either into another Mew if you want to if you're trying to Techno Blast 2 times in a row, or you're going to retreat into a Genesect and then switch it. And that Genesect is going to be basic Pokemon. So I don't know why. I literally think there's 0 downside to playing a switch card. Galar Mine is not a popular card right now. So I literally have no idea why playing 2 switches. I think switch cards better. You get the healing for the Lost Box matchup. So yeah, I'm really not sure why they're playing switches. If you do know why, please let me know. And that is that 3 VIP pass, which I think is actually personally I think that's awful. Like either you play 4 VIP pass or you play 0 VIP pass, and there's 0 reason to play 4 or 0. There's 0 reason to play 0 VIP pass in a Mew deck. So I really just think you should just go full blown 4. I don't think there's anything stopping you from doing that. It's just like you want to hit them, you want to hit like 2, so just play 4 of them so you can hit 2 of them. That just does not make sense to me. Why do you ever play 3 VIP pass other than that? This is another Mew list. Moving on. And this one, let me look at this. This one's playing Pokemon Catchers again. So maybe Pokemon Catcher Fusion Strike build is like the way to go. Seems like only 2 Mew VMAXs. But this is something that I agree with this list a lot more than the last one. We have the switch cards. This person may be realizing that there's literally no reason to play switch cards over, or there's no reason to play switches over switch cards. 2 Chromatic and 2 4 Seal Stone, which I can see why you do that. It's basically saying instead of playing 4 Chromatic, I'm going to play 2 Chromatic and then 2 guaranteed Chromatics, basically. Palpad here. The Pokemon Catchers, like I mentioned, still going with 2 Serena though, which makes sense because you can still a draw supporter, so you can Pokemon Catcher something up and then play Serena as just a regular draw supporter for the turn. There's the 2 Meloetta, which I like a lot more. 2 Velocities, no Path, that makes sense. Only 1 Lost Vacuum. Like I said, I like this list a lot more than the last one. I think there's a lot more things that make sense in this one. No 3 VIP Pass, which, like that one. And I don't think there's going to be any more. Actually, no, there's another way you can spell Mew. And there's 3 of them we have like that. Okay. We have a runner-up Mew VMAX. And, oh my god, this one playing 1 Meloetta again. I really no idea why. you play one Meloetta. It just doesn't make sense to me. At least they're playing 4 VIP packs to redeem themselves. Um, there's Rope here. Rest of this looks pretty regular. Don't really, yeah, there's no Roxanne, but other than that, this looks like pretty cookie cutter for a Fusion Strike build of Mew. Yep, playing Switch cards. There's still one Switch in here, which is respectable, I guess, now. That you at least still have the Switch cards. There's 2 Rotom phones. Um, and Rotom phone's just such a broken card. This list really feels like they're just like cutting all the funny stuff and adding like Rotom phones, like a third Chromatic, a second Lost City. I like this list a lot, except for the one Meloetta. I do not like that. All right, next. Another second place runner up UV Max. And let me just see. This looks, yeah. Other than the 3 Mew V, I really don't like 3 Mew V because Mew V is your best starter in the deck, so why not just play 4 of them? Plus, sometimes the card just says bench it and draw one more card. Other than the 3 Mew V and the 2 regular Switch instead of Switch card, this list is near perfect to me. There's really nothing I change here except for those 2 things. This list is really solid. 2 Escape Rope. Really good list. And then the last one in this article that we're going to look at is another build of the Marnie Path one. The 3 Marnies, 3 Paths, 4 Lost Vacuum, and then the no Fusion Strike. So, because there's no Fusion Strike, there's no Meloetta, there's no Oricorio. And actually, no Oricorio makes a little bit less sense to me. Like, it's really good versus Zoroark. I don't know how powerful Zoroark is in Japan right now, but it doesn't look like it's too powerful. We do see the Hero's Medal, as well as the, what's it called? What's this called? Forest Seal Stone. 3 of the Forest Seal Stone, which, when I initially saw it earlier in the video, I was like, why are you playing 3? You just play 2. And I think the reason they're playing 3 is because they have 3 paths. So that makes more sense now. Once again, the 2 Serena, because it's a draw supporter that can be used under path. And if you're, never mind. Yeah, this looks good, and that's going to be the last one of the video. Pretty decent amount of the Marnie Path one versus the Fusion Strike one here, which is cool seeing these like 2 different builds of Mew. One that plays 3 copies of Path. It reminds me a lot of when Shadow Rider first came out. When Shadow Rider first came out, it was playing its own Path of the Peaks and Mars Shadow to try and like cheese other opposing Shadow Riders with Path Marnie. This kind of reminds me of it a lot. In theory, this deck is pretty favored into the mirror because even if you miss like a boss or something, you still have Marnie Path to fall back on and hoping your opponent doesn't draw out of it, or they don't have the tablet either, which isn't going to be too hard considering you have 4 of your own Lost Vacuum. So if you can just like Marnie Path and then versus the mirror that they have the Forest Seal Stone, Lost Vacuum, their Forest Seal Stone, it's going to be pretty good. So it reminds me a lot of those Shadow Rider decks. But other than that, that's going to do it for the video, guys. If you guys liked it, don't forget to like. If you guys want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. We have videos like this all the time, so if you guys want to see more content, don't forget to subscribe. That's it. That's going to be it. I'll see you guys in the next one.